Welcome back to my channel, guys, and it's time for another deviation from Power Rangers. Though this might actually happen a lot more often than you think. So, since this is the time of year for
Spooky, scary skeletons.
and things that go bump in the night, let's take a look at one of the best animated children's shows ever, Gravity Falls. Now, at the risk of being crucified by you guys in the comments, I actually did not grow up watching this show, despite the fact that it came out during the time that I was the right age range. But before you say anything, just know I did not grow up with the Disney Channel. I first heard about this show when I was in college, when my roommate had it on, and so I asked a few questions about it. And he said it was a great show, so I started checking it out. And when I did watch this show, I found that its two-season format is just the perfect length for this show, as every episode is important for the overall narrative. Seriously, even episodes like Irrational Treasure, Headhunters, Boss Mabel, and The Love God aren't just random episodes. Every single episode has a reason for existing, and at least 90% of the episodes has a payoff in the finale. Personally speaking, I love this show, especially with the stories, the mysteries, and the characters. These characters are written with such great lines that you legit fall in love with them over the course of the show. And the writing itself is amazing. Plus, I love the intro, with its rather simple music that gives the feeling of horror and a fun time. While some animated shows I've seen in more recent years have begun to turn from being very adult to pure comedy, where they just make jokes whenever they want to, here, the jokes all have great timing. But even when a joke would be told at an inappropriate time, that being a heavy or dramatic moment, it's told by a character who would make a joke there anyway, usually Mabel, Seuss, or Bill. And this kind of joke just doesn't work only once or twice in the series' two-season run. But I will admit that these jokes also work here because this is a children's comedy show first, just with a slight Twilight Zone vibe. On that note, Dipper and Mabel, voiced by Jason Ritter and Kristen Schaal, please let me know if I mispronounced her name in the comments section, are amazing characters, with most of the episodes holding character arcs and development for both of them. And while most people have pointed out that Dipper goes through an important arc or having to give up something to let Mabel have a quote-unquote victory, these episodes still have great character growth for both of them. And I argue that Dipper is the main focus of the show, so he should be the one to go on these arc episodes more often than any other character. Especially in Dreamscaperers, where he becomes confident enough in himself to take down Bill. Or the Weirdmageddon trilogy, where he becomes one of the primary four who completely outwit and defeat Bill. And while Mabel plays a big part in the show, she's not as important as Dipper, but she does have her own character growth episodes. In fact, Boys Crazy is an example of that, as she over-obsesses over several times, and by the end, lets them live their lives in freedom. Plus, it's a pretty interesting episode to watch, and the songs are pretty catchy and fun. And I do like that Mabel has a great character arc in that episode. And there's also Sock Opera, where she destroys her own puppet show to defeat Bill and has to give up her newest crush. Seriously, that one has great moments and a lot of hilarious jokes. Grunkle Stan, voiced by series creator Alex Hirsch, is also a very fun character, with his cynical nature always getting a laugh out of me. But he shows he does really care for Dipper and Mabel, especially in Gideon Rises, where he literally tells them that he can't take care of them anymore, and that he's sending them home since he has nothing left. Plus, we can't forget about his hilarious jokes at the Mystery Shack, especially in Tourist Trapped and The Land Before Swine. And he can't forget about Seuss, also voiced by Hirsch, who is so hilarious in the show that I would compare him to Caboose from the show Red vs. Blue, in that he's the funniest character with good levity for this comedy show, and his jokes always getting a laugh. Not joking here. Most of the aforementioned inappropriately timed jokes come from him. But he's such a simple-minded man-child that I honestly can't be mad at the series for this. And seriously, Seuss and the Real Girl is such a good Seuss-focused episode. And it's very fun to watch, even with Abuelita getting some hilarious lines.
Have you been following us all day?
Seuss's Life is my soap opera.
Before I continue, if you haven't seen the show yet, stop being a dummy and go watch it on Disney+. Or you can actually just skip to this time code. We good? I'm gonna assume that you went and watched the show. Okay, here we go. I was entirely shocked when I discovered Ford was voiced by the legendary J.K. Simmons. Yup, this J.K. Simmons.
You serious?
Yeah, that blew my mind when I discovered that. And while I will agree I love Ford in this, I'm kind of shocked he wasn't in more episodes. I guess when the show was airing, it felt longer, but he's only in 8 episodes. I would have personally liked it if they had at least 2 more episodes with Ford, but he was literally built up for the entire series. And so there didn't seem to be anything else crucial to learn about him, as every scene he's in, he's being developed in such a fast and flowing pace. And then there's Wendy, voiced by Linda Cardellini, who is just the cool girl of the group who Dipper initially has a crush on, and dang, I guess there's not much else to her character, is there? I will say, though, she does have some great moments, like Into the Bunker, where she is arguably at her best, since she takes charge, fights off the shapeshifter, and even has a great scene with Dipper about not being able to be with him. But the show is as good as its villain, and Bill, voiced by Hirsch. My gosh, who doesn't this guy voice in the recurring cast? Is the force of chaos who is bent on taking over the world and recreating it to suit himself.
A party that never ends with a host that never dies!
That dude has big dreams. And his powers are rather scary, and voice very funny, yet intimidating. Seriously, just listen to his voice when he gets angry.
Do you have any idea what I'm like?
When I'm mad?
And with the aforementioned inappropriately timed jokes again, I argue that whenever he does this, it's because he's extremely cocky and thinks he's above everyone else, so his jokes actually work. Plus, I love that he has virtually unlimited powers, and that makes him really scary during the finale. But we'll get more in depth about that later. For now, let's talk about some of the recurring characters. Each of these guys have very distinct and unforgettable characteristics. Philford McGucket, love that name by the way, is so hilarious with his hootenannies and his made-up hillbilly words. Sheriff Blubbs and Deputy Durland are hilariously the worst cops in existence from any kid's cartoon, especially since they act more like they're retired cops who are still somehow on the force. And Pacifica Northwest is originally, well, I'd rather not say.
You walking one-dimensional bleach blonde Valley Girl stereotype!
Yeah, let's go with that. But she really warms up as a character in Northwest Mansion Mystery. And I'll admit, I ship her and Dipper. And concerning the episodes, I was never disappointed by any of them. They all contain just the right amount of comedy, mystery, sometimes horror, but it's always entertaining. No joke, I legit love the Time Traveler's Pig. Waddles is such an adorable character, and this episode seriously made me consider getting a pig as a pet. This episode was so much fun in that it showed that time travel was a thing in this show, and even giving us some pretty funny lines from Blendin.
Blendin. Time anomaly removal crew, year 2012.
Plus, we got some great lines from Seuss that were even funnier when they actually came true. Also, I love that Blendin was tasked with going to the previous episodes to clean up what Dipper and Mabel did. And if you watch closely on those episodes, You can actually see him in the background. Don't know if the writers, animators, or crew knew what story they were doing, but it was hilarious.
Ah, oh, 15-poundy. So, how much you guessing he weighs?
15 pounds?
Are you some kind of witch?
Another one of my favorite episodes is obviously Summerween. How is this not a real holiday? Seriously, every kid would go crazy for it, and so would I. Despite the fact that I'm 23. No regrets! This episode is one of 3 that I would consider the show at its scariest for kids, with the others being Northwest Mansion Mystery and Scarioki. Seriously, the Summerween Trickster, love that name by the way, is mysterious enough and scary enough for me to worry about the characters. Now, while I will usually give away spoilers in my review videos, I am not going to give away the twist concerning the Trickster. You'll just have to see the show to find out. Plus, Stan's little monologue about the holiday is well thought out, with a pretty funny punchline that's so in character and for Halloween itself.
I ate a man alive tonight.
Oh yeah, that punchline too. However, we can't forget about the mid-season finale that brought us to tears. Don't act like you didn't! In the form of Not What He Seems. This episode is the total culmination of the previous 30 episodes, and it makes us question if we know the truth. Many theories about the show came true in this episode, even if they were predicted months ahead of time. But it all came together in the best way. But you can't talk about this episode without talking about the image that brought it to life. We all sympathize with Mabel, wanting to believe Stan, as he could never lie to us. Could he? But it all comes together at the end of the episode, with a pretty funny punchline on usual cliches, and a pretty cryptic end credit scene. And while I started watching in 2018, I can't even imagine what it was like waiting for 4 months for the next episode. And you are a robot if you didn't cry near the end of this episode.
Uncle Stan? 6, 5. I trust you.
And this show is so beloved, I can't talk much more about it. Hold on a second there, nerd shirt. Bill! What are you doing here? You really think you could talk about all these losers, but you can't talk about the episode that caused people to laugh, cry, and be satisfied with all the theories that came true with this show? Everybody talks about it. Are you really gonna disappoint the fans? What? Well then, I'm afraid if you aren't going to do that, then I'll have no choice but to erase you from... Okay. Just go on back, and I'll talk about it. Believe me, the Weirdmageddon trilogy is such a big task to talk about. But the bigger issue is spoilers. So, if you didn't get my message earlier, or you're just odd, go watch the show now. Go on, I'll wait. You good? Alright, let's get into it. Weirdmageddon is the 3-part finale, not for Disney Plus, that is the culmination of every single episode in the show, with everything going downhill stupid fast in the first part, even down to Ford getting captured and the journals being destroyed. No joke, I knew this series wasn't over yet, but my jaw dropped when the journals were destroyed, and I instantly thought, okay, that's it, there's no way these characters can survive. But we do get a pretty funny, yet disturbing that's what you get moment for Preston Northwest, voiced by...
Not now, sweetie. The grown-ups are talking.
Nathan Fillion? How randomly awesome is this show's casting? Plus, we do get a pretty good character arc for Gideon, who was such a good time to watch as a character you love to hate, when he sacrifices himself for Mabel.
Well. And here I thought today couldn't get any better!
Then part 2 is such an odd episode, but still with some great jokes, even references to other Disney movies. Plus, I can't help but say this, but I was watching this show with my mom, who came in for the finale episodes, And she had me rewind the episode to make sure she heard this right.
All rise for the Honorable Judge Kitty Kitty Meow Meow Face Schwartzstein.
And she legit could not stop laughing. Plus, this world that Mabel quote-unquote created is so much fun to look at, with everything Mabel loved and talked about in the past showing up in the background somewhere. Plus, I love that the flashbacks tug at the heartstrings so much. And I especially tear up when we see Mabel's Valentine gift to Dipper. And Mabel coming to her senses and accepting that she can't live in a fantasy world forever is so well handled. Plus, we still get some great yet scary moments from Bill that still make me terrified yet laugh.
Global domination. I could get used to... What? This might be more complicated than I thought.
I think I broke something.
Walk it off!
And part 3 is the grand finale of this show, being the final time that we'll see these characters until their spinoffs come out. And everything they do is so amazing, and the animation is upped to the umpteenth degree. Seriously, the fight between the Shacktron and the Henchmaniacs is amazing to watch, with a fun orchestral version of the Gravity Falls theme song, along with all the characters getting something to do, with at least one little cool-as-heck moment to show off their skills. And then there's the Zodiac Circle, which, if you didn't know, had powers and symbols determined by the fans who made theories with what characters were to go to which symbol. And we also got a great story arc for the Stan twins, with a good twist that, if you look closely enough, you can actually see what it is. But, oh right, spoilers, it's Stan that Bill enters the mind of, and his memory is wiped to defeat Bill. And a very heart-tugging scene where the kids are trying to make him remember, and him finally remembering everything. Plus, it's the final episode, and so you know they're going to pull your heart out when they say their goodbyes. And, as an uncle myself, I really identify with Stan's goodbye, and I would say the same thing.
Kids, you knuckleheads were nothing but a nuisance, and I'm glad to be rid of you.
What? I'm not crying. I got something in my eye. But in all honesty, you can't feel like crying, laughing, and saying, "Good gosh, this show," when the credits roll.
Ready to head into the unknown?
Nope. Let's do it.
There. You happy now? Oh, I guess I'll be satisfied for now. Hey, want to make a deal? Okay, buddy, back to your own dimension. So anyway, this show was so amazing, there doesn't seem to be much left to talk about. It was just the right amount of episodes to give everyone great character arcs, make us cry, and just have fun. And, in all honesty, this is the perfect show to have set in summer, as it feels like summer. Making new friends, having some one-time crushes, causing some trouble, and just having fun to annoy your parental figures to no end. And eventually, saying goodbye to it all. Anyway, thanks for watching, you guys. Be sure to like this video if you want to see more season-themed videos, and comment on what I should talk about next. I got some ideas, but let me know your thoughts. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. I will be taking a break for the next 2 months to write, edit, and create my next big episode, but I'll see you guys next time. And remember, have a happy Halloween. But he's such a simple-minded man-child that I honestly can't be mad. I can't be made? That says made. It says I can't be made in the script. How did I miss that for some reason?